Level 35 bracket was a breeze. I didn't need to change much from the level 20 builds, except of getting the epic. Unlike that, level 50 is going to be a long ride. I started the bracket with theory crafting. I chose to have my team specialize in lords instead of going all do damage, thinking ahead for the level 80 bracket. I chose to struggle now during the transition in lords rather than later. Salam is my main melee damage dealer, focusing on single target and rear damage. Zelor as my distance damage dealer, focused on single target. Mask will be my main healer, while shielding and buffing the team. I went for healing, single target, and melee mastery. Panda will be a pure tank and positioner focused on high HP and resistances. Pekka can play AoE damage, but I chose to go for the role of shielding the allies and buffing them while being tanky. Last is Osa. It's a tricky one since I want him to be tanky a bit while doing some damage, but mainly buffing the team and debuff the enemies. So I can start doing the quest. I created the build page with the level 50 characteristic points and spells while using the level 35 gear page, which consists of mostly level 20 gear. I heard of a fabulous treasure exists in Evoria, guarded by Sir Mamor. I headed to Evoria Harbor and talked to Siros for directions. I went to the western beach and searched for more information. The beach is under siege by pirates looking for the same treasure. I found a young boy named Now who can help me. I need to do him a favor first. His Macauker was missing and I need to find it. I defeated some pirates, talked to Now, and went to the pirates' camp. I looked around for clues about the Macauker. Once I wanted to leave, the pirates attacked me, but I survived them. This led me to the pirates' dungeon. I defeated the boss and found a note in the back about the location where Azuzu, like the Macauker, was kept at. I informed Now of this, and he rewarded me with Kama's tokens and information where to go. I went to the east of the volcano on the Deathburn beach, where the people were cursed and are trapped between life and death. I found a little boy called Kumi sitting alone. He's waiting on his parents to come back from exploring the beach. I took his necklace of burned souls and recharged it. I took it back to Gloomy. The necklace now indicates a direction to follow. I killed some deathburns on the beach, then headed to the dungeon to kill the skeleton boss, in hopes of finding more trace of his parents. Once the boss defeated, journal remnants dropped. I read those remnants. His dad was stuck in the cave for at least 4 days and can't find a way out. He noted he was feeling strange since the creatures cut him. He was still looking for Gomi's mom with no avail. I gave the news to Gomi and he told me his mom mentioned the Bitter Hammer Cave, so that would be my next destination. That part of the quest is from the level 65 bracket. Stay tuned for the next episode, we are going to explore that. On this level, I have mercenary quests in Amakna awaiting me. The first one is to help old Joe find his missing Moriko. I asked the mercenary for information and he directed me where old Joe lives. He told me about his Moriko and how she was a strong candidate to win the yearly farmers contest. I headed to where she used to live. I saw the field destroyed, inspected it for any traces I could find. The next thing to do for me was to go find the other farmers and interrogated them to see who might be the culprit. I talked back to Joe and told him my conclusion that none of them was a culprit. So we decided to participate with another Mooger to stop him from jumping over the ledge with Sadness. Even if the Mooger chosen lost the strong part of the contest, I did my best to make it look beautiful and we ended up winning that. The last contest is to find who is the nastiest Mooger. I took it through the world and the fields of Astrob, the Tofu area, and even made her fight Tristopan, the Ayop in Astro Mountain. I trained her really well and we reached the top of the mountain. We then participated in the contest and she killed it. I then heard the news that Morigord is hidden inside the Royal Pasteurizer dungeon, so I went inside to defeat the dungeons in hope to find something. Turns out, the boss of the dungeon is Morigord herself. I took the news to Old Joe, where I got in touch with my Morigord, with its partner coming to say goodbye to Old Joe. I returned to the Guild of Mercenaries reporting this and earned myself a golden cup replica that Old Joe won. Next quest I embarked on is to save Clovis Field from the wildgrass so he can be ready for his wedding. I met Chav, who told me about the damage Clovis caused by entering Chav's field. I recovered a sample of a mutated plant, inspected the ground with the plant growing, followed by the strange substance. I then met with Sheikha Inglas. She fears Amakna's inhabitants might have eaten some of the contaminated wheat Clovis distributed. I recovered the contaminated wheat in the storeroom from the Amakna kitchens and from Chaps. I brought them to Sheikha Inglas. While I was doing that, she was analyzing the substance and it was used as a duping product. The plants didn't like it and started draining Wakfu from the soil. They started becoming more human-like and a threat to Amakna. I headed to the dungeon, which is Chav's fields, to defeat him and to look for him. I went there, defeated the boss, and turns out he was swallowed by the big plant. I let Chav know about this and was happy I saved Globis. I reported back to the Guild of Mercenaries and took the last quest to put an end to the earthquakes shaking Amakna. I met with Alibert, who suggested me looking for higher grounds to get a full view of the America region that is the source of these earthquakes and to figure out why the crackers have suddenly become so aggressive. From there I noticed two rifts. I inspected the first one, followed by the second one. I went inside the tunnels of the Magna mountain. I spoke with Percy 4, who instructed me to go deeper. Found some rubble, I inspected, then a rectus bomb and the campfire. Turns out the crackers were enslaved by the rectus and I had to stop them. I followed up with Percy, who asked me to defeat the royal crackler in the Hell Hazis dungeon to find the solutions to stop these earthquakes. The cracklers will stop doing that and Alibert was so happy the earthquakes will finally subside. I reported to the guild and took my reward, marking the end of my questing for this bracket. Since my builds were so weak, I needed to start farming dungeons on only Stasis 1 and 2. I farmed the Crackler, Deathburn, Mooger, Plants, and the Pirate dungeon many times. On low Stasis it took me so many tries to get anything significant. I started using some of the gear and even green pieces on my team just to get to the point where I can do Stasis 3. I used tokens I got from the quest and from the daily and weekly quest to get many relics that I can already use for my team. At this point, it was so much to keep track of mentally, so I dedicated a few hours to develop an Excel sheet that allows me to keep track of the gear I have and if they still need enchantment, alongside the completion percentage. The tool adds images near the gear name automatically from the Encamel's servers. It helped me immensely track my gear in an organized manner. The level 50 gear were a step up from the previous gear I had, since the new ones give more stats and even more movement points and attack points. It took me so long to farm that I ended up reaching the end of the month. I opened all of the chests to receive so much more gear that I gladly used. I crafted so many and did so much enchantment. Sometimes I was unlucky, but others I was really lucky that even rolled 4 white slots on the Nether ring. At this point, the mythical gear was progressing really well, but I couldn't drop a single epic. This is where I decided to tweak my rules. Now I'm allowed to buy 1 epic gear unidentified, or the worst if there is none in the market with a question mark, for each of my team members once. This way I can continue the journey and start doing Stasis 5 and spending a few more weeks doing the same dungeons just to drop the epics, as I can only farm a few hours per day as I have a full-time job I do. This is also why I make now 2 videos per week instead of a video per 2 days, so I can be more consistent. With that said, I started doing dungeons on Stasis 5. Even if my builds were incomplete, I won't be mentioning the rooms since they are not a big deal. Something to note, for this bracket, I started experimenting with consumables. I learned how to use them and how to use the different types simultaneously. The first dungeon of the bracket is the Royal Pasteurizer. Even if it's a simple one, it's really dangerous. The dungs the white movers put in the fields become a ticking bomb waiting for the boss Mori gold to trigger. I focused them, followed by the mosquitoes and grey boogers. I almost died to the dung explosions, but with the mask healing and shielding and also Fika shielding, I was able to survive and to start chipping on the boss HP. With the supports, boosting the damage dealer, debuffing the boss, and panda positioning him to give the rear. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I end up defeating the dungeon in just 6 turns, earning me rank 41. The second dungeon is the Hill Haziz. It has two entrances. The above one has more runes, but the one underground has stronger mobs in the runes. The mobs in this dungeon hit hard and are tanky. To reduce their tankiness, you need to push them against something. I would have done it the whole time, but two small Kakarots spawn when you do that. So I avoided doing it unless it was necessary. The boss almost killed my team, but thankfully, Panda, Osa and Zero survived, allowing me to finish the fight by turn 7, earning me the rank 25. Last dungeon in Amakna was the Strawberry Fields, which belonged to the guy I saved earlier. The only thing to note about this dungeon is that when you kill a monster, glyphs on the ground appear. When you walk on them, you lose resistances. If you walk on too many, you will end up so fragile that you could get one shot, which happened to the Saram, but Zelor barely survived to deal the last hit to the boss, finishing him in 4 turns and earning me rank 35. Next one in the bracket is the Mineral Tower. This one is a beast to do on Stasis 5 with no sublimation. The boss has 8 particular combination of spells and mods, and I can only do it with the Fortress mode and the mobs not spawning. This mode is known by Agony doing air damage, so I got my gear enchanted for this. During the fight, you can get access to 2 spells on a new bar. The first one gives you 3 AP, more percentage of damage, and healing after 3 turns. Second one gives armor if casted on self or resistances of the gem casted on. They are key in doing this dungeon. I tried many times with no avail. Didn't understand why I couldn't do it, despite me already doing it on Pandora. By watching my video, I saw how I played and it was different than how I played when trying. Armed with knowledge and determination, I started the fight one more time. I started the fight by focusing on the Emerald Team. Thankfully, my Zero does enough damage to kill him first turn with the help of buffs from the team and the resistance is removed. Second turn, I used the 6 AP spell to prepare for turn 5. While I was stacking the Wakfu points to AP spell on Zero. Killed Jeddarm on third turn. Fourth turn, I almost lost Zero, but he survived and got healed completely and prepared for turn 5 to kill Agatha. Turn 6 or 7 were used to destroy 2 gems. Turn 8 used as a preparation turn. And turn 9 started hoping to reduce Agony's HP by a bit more than 50%. Mask buffed 20% damage in crit and also gave him some MP. Yosa used Red Pew to buff more crit and reduce her resistances. Zelor gained 3 IP and 100% damage from the 6 IP spell used in turn 6. 9 IP from Time Theft, 3 IP from the potion after turning the hour with distortion. When the one Wakfu point left, moved across to Agony, standing in the core in the hour. Now I had 26 AP, a crazy percentage of damage affected, used the 4 AP spell to destroy the Earth Gem, opening a clear line of sight. Now I started unleashing the spells on her. I couldn't believe how much damage I was doing, and my Zelor killed Agony from 99% HP in a single turn, with 2 more IP to spare, earning me the first rank. You can see my reaction on the bottom left of the screen. I am so proud of this. After the great success in defeating Agony, I faced the Octopus Crew dungeon. It's a forgiving dungeon to do. A few turns the boss goes underwater and spawns tentacles. I won't appear until our tentacles are killed. I left one tentacle alive for Panda to kill in the same turn. My team is buffed. Silly me, I forgot the boss will appear next turn, so the buffs I did were for nothing. After a few turns, I have done the same exact thing. I guess my brain cells were tired from Agony, but I eventually killed him by turn 15 and made me rank 13. Last dungeon of the bracket is the Deathburn. It's hard to handle, mobs hit hard, and you lose resistances from marking on the glyphs, while enemies gain resistances when they are on top of them. The boss also hits hard, but putting one monster in front of him creates a safe zone he can't attack, basically using his own ally as a wall to hide behind. This allows me to focus on the rest of the mobs. I can kill them while sustaining the damage they do. After bringing him to 50%, they summon spawn that are invulnerable and don't do any damage on that turn. Next turns I focused on killing them and leaving only one to hide behind like I did before. I managed to lower the boss HP further until I felt I couldn't finish him. That's when I sent Saram to the back of the boss to deal the final blow, leaving only the monster I used before alive. Killing him won me the battle and earned me the rank 13. This marked the end of the Stasis 5 challenge of the bracket. Before ending my journey on this bracket, I took one last quest. Old Joe needed some help again. I repaired the broken barrel at his paddock, the same one we saw earlier. I refilled the tamed Mooger's water's trough, their drinking trough, milked chamomile, brushed clover, and then took the bell to the Magna blacksmith to have it repaired. I went back and gave Old Joe the bell back and said the last goodbye. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of my journey, you will find me live on Twitch Monday to Friday starting around 10:30 p.m. GMT+1. Link down below. See ya on next episode.